For all of you guys listening on the radio, I'm sorry because I'm listening to Marshall Faulk and Jerry West talk about golf, and Chris Brockman's like giggling over there in the corner because this conversation is so epic that I know we're going to talk basketball, but I feel like I'm gypping people by not letting them listen in on this little golf convo.
Oh, man, yeah.
Jerry, you said something so important, which is that if all kids got hooked on golf, they wouldn't get in trouble, and I think you're probably dead on.
Well, you know what? It teaches you a lot. I think that, we all don't grow up in perfect circumstances. And I think when you get on a golf course around people who play golf, it's a real gentleman's game. And I used to be involved a little bit in golf here in Southern California. And I would go to see some of these young kids. Oh, my gosh, how polite, how their parents, they were like young professionals. Real boys and young girls, they just had such a fantastic way about them that you felt like this is maybe could be a turning point in their life in terms of how they interacted with people, how generous and kind they were to people. And you'd like to see a lot more of that today than we see, that's for sure.
You know, Suze, two things for me with golf. First, when I started to play, I started playing golf like my second year in the league, and golf taught me how to deal with the things that I did wrong. So if I fumbled the ball, it didn't mean that I was a fumbler. It just happened. In golf, like if you just have to accept what happens. If you hit a ball, you hook it into the water or out of bounds, you literally have to stand up there and make the same swing with the same thoughts. You can't try to change things. It's just, that's what happened on that one swing. It's not going to happen again. And it taught me to accept things within my sport and not like take it personal, just move on. You know, the next shot, the next play. And then the other thing about golf that I love is, and I think about this, think about if in every sport you had to do this. In golf, you call penalties on yourself. Mm-hmm. Just think about it. Guy goes up for the game-winning shot. You hit his elbow, you go to the ref. Hey, I hit his elbow. Or in football, you grab a guy jersey, he drops the ball. Hey, ref, I grabbed his jersey.
Every once in a while, certain referees will say it's an offensive foul.
Right. Just think about it. In golf, you call penalties on yourself.
That would solve a lot of the NFL's officiating issues. I think we're on to something. We're going to get Ed Reed a head coaching job, or at least a DC, and we're going to change NFL officiating in this one show. I should do this show every day. We're solving the world problems.
You know, I saw something happen in a basketball game, and I'm not sure it's permissible that we can talk about other players, but a truly great player who I really admire a lot shot 2 air balls in a game on national TV the other night. And I don't dare mention his game. I say I love him as a player. He's really great. And I don't think either one of them touched the net.
That don't even sound right.
Wait, can I say his name? Mr. West, can I say his name?
No.
Okay,
I don't think so.
Please. I don't want to pay a fine.
This is the part.
I'll get fined for saying, but I love this player. I love the way he plays. I love the way he handles himself. And I wonder what his thinking was when he would get back up the free throw line again. And this guy's not good. He's all pro.
Mm-hmm.
He's really great, but he shot 2 air balls.
Well, hold on. They don't, either one of them, I don't think, touched the net. They were that short.
But we lived through that with Shaquille half the time. I mean, some of those air balls were ugly.
No,
Like
Shaquille, he didn't shoot air balls, okay? His were a little
Clank.
bit heavier looking.
Right. Clank.
And had more of a clanking sound.
Yeah. That's bananas.
Oh, my God.
I mean, I think we can all fill in the blanks here, but, you know, for decorum and because you
we
did
don't
me a
have to.
favor.
Listen, you could probably go on some platform and put 2 air balls in, all pro, and it'll come up.
Come up first.
People at home can do the homework.
And
That
again,
being
a player
said-
that I think he's young. Oh, my goodness, what a player he is.
Well, that being said, we do thank you for coming in because you are hurt, because you are on the IR, because you have bronchitis.
Of
But I'm
course.
still going to go ahead and ask you a couple questions. We'll lay off on the guessing game for what's happening. Jerry West, of course, here on The Rich Eisen Show. Susie Schuster, Marshall Faulk in this Hall of Fame edition. Sorry, not a Hall of Famer, guys. I apologize. Maybe someday. Right, in Rich's world, right? Doc Rivers talks about being at Nobu Malibu when he heard that the big Clippers trade came down, when you guys knew that you'd have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Where were you when you got the news?
I was in Las Vegas. Well, I knew we were really close, and I think Doc was on your show. I know he talked about it. I knew we were really close, but we had to, when I say we, our front office, Lawrence Frank, Michael Winger, they're the ones who should get the credit. I think there was a plan in place to try to be able to talk to free agents you found attractive. And during that period of time, we had a great meeting with Kawhi. He did not know whether or not that he would come here, but we had a great meeting with him. As I say, he talked about our roster, and he mentioned one player in particular, and that player was Paul George. And, our front office gave a lot to get him, and we ended up acquiring him, and I walked into the Summer League, and somebody said, I can't believe you guys got both of those guys. It was a very happy night for all of us, and, we'll see what the outcome of the season would be, but I think if you have two players like that on your team, it really gives you a chance because they're premier players on both ends of the court. And watching Kawhi, he hadn't had a chance to really practice that much. Watching him do things, he's not good. He's one of the major stars in the game today. Major. I wouldn't be surprised if this Clipper team can ascend and be a threat going into the playoffs, that he would not be the most valuable player. But also we haven't had Paul George around, and he is in his own right. He is kind of like Kawhi, but Kawhi is different. And to have two players like that on your team is pretty remarkable summer. And my hat's off to our front office. A remarkable job.
What's the status on Paul George?
Well, he's just about there. And, we have not shot the ball very well. I think we won game at this point in time, because of Kawhi's brilliance on both ends of the court, I might add. And he's shown me a dimension that I didn't know he had before. If we have been shooting the ball a little bit better, he might be leading the league in assists. He is remarkable. He's funny, but boy, is he competitive.
When you look at where the league is today, you've built other teams and you've had a lot to do. What's the difference in how they used to do it to nowadays, how you're building teams?
Well, it's so much more complex today because, last year there were 21 teams that have an enormous amount of money to spend. And I think at the end of summer, there was like almost $1.7 billion spent on player salaries. Wow. But I've always felt that cap space is fool's gold because sooner or later you're going to have to spend it. And if you're under the threshold where the league requires you to spend X amount of dollars, you have to spend it on someone. And some teams will pay someone, an exorbitant amount of money for 2 years that certainly should not be in the category of these truly great players. And, there's always one or two prizes out there every year. And people are, we're going to go get these guys. We're going to go get these guys. It is really difficult. And it's difficult to maintain teams today because of free agency. Mm-hmm. And I think kids today have a choice. When you played, you had no choice. And football players have little or no choice today anyway. Yep. They probably got the worst collective bargaining agreement deal that I've ever seen in my life for a sport that's risky and that dangerous. And basketball has been blessed with some great leaders who have grown the fortunes for players today because of the increasing popularity of this league, not just in this country, but worldwide. And I'm thrilled for the players. People say, he makes too much. I don't care how much money they make. I don't. I'm thrilled for them because for everyone who's overpaid, we've had a lot that are underpaid. So I would probably be a great advocate for stronger unions for the players today. The franchises talk about how much money they make, but at the end of the day, there's enormous write-offs for these very rich owners, and they're more concerned. The new owners know about numbers. Sometimes numbers matter more to them. Players matter more to me.
Well, what about your new owner, Jerry West, of course, Hall of Famer Jerry West, joining us on The Rich Eisen Show with Hall of Famer Marshall Faulk and myself, Susie Schuster. Your owner, Steve Ballmer, seems to be the polar opposite from you. As you said to me yesterday, you don't like being pampered. You don't like attention. I think you almost seem to be embarrassed by being referred to as the logo. And you've got an owner who is like literally like shaking up a can of soda and boom, off he goes. So what's that relationship like?
Well, I will tell you, Susie, he has two different personalities. He's unbelievably competitive. And some people don't like competition. They like it one way. He is really competitive, but without a doubt, he's one of the most common men I've ever met in my life. And that's his charm. The enormous amount of money that he gives away because he and his wife are so philanthropic. It's amazing. But you would never know that he had the kind of resources he does. He's a giver. What he does is kept quiet, except his enthusiasm. And he's a pleasure. He's a breath of fresh air to be around. I've never, I've been involved with 3 franchises with late Jerry Buss, who was remarkable himself. He was a man of the people. Mike Heisley in Memphis, very much like Jerry, a little bit more boisterous. He has the same kind of personality that Steve does. And being around Steve is really, as I mentioned, a breath of fresh air. He's just an amazing guy. He wants to build his own arena. Obviously, there's opposition to it. And I think he should be able to build his own arena. Unfortunately, I won't be around at that time to watch it. But I wish there were more owners like him.
Where are you going?
I'm going off and watch Markle play. I'm going to be his caddy from now.
I'm just saying, where are you going, Jerry?
I think we all have a shelf life regardless of what we do, and it's not, I've had a charmed life. I really have, to be able to work for a storied franchise, play for a storied franchise, work for an incredible owner in Jerry Buss, who believed in me and gave me an opportunity to do something that most people would say, because you're an athlete, you can't do it. You can't think on that level. I will always be grateful for him and the Laker franchise.
The icon Jerry West here on The Rich Eisen Show. So you bring up the Lakers, and we now have a situation where there are bona fide stars on either side. When I worked with you so much when I covered the Lakers from 2000 to 2003, the joke was the little brothers in the court. Shaquille O'Neal, still on TNT a couple weeks ago, referred to the Clippers as the little brothers. That's not the case anymore. What's it like for you, who was so synonymous with the Lakers, to see this rivalry be an actuality now?
Well, I just say, because of the history of the Lakers, I'm not sure this will ever be a rivalry. I think if in the last 7 years, the Clippers have had much more success, but you would never know that. History is established by something that is unprecedented. And the number of championships and the incredible amount of great players that played there. The greatest in the game have played for the Lakers, trust me. There's more great players that play for the Lakers than anyone. And to be part of that history was so much fun, but to be involved with Jerry. Again, a man of the people. He was brilliantly gifted mentally. He wanted basketball to be more of an event than a sport, and he changed the landscape of the sport, particularly talk radio. Right? Well, few people know it, but Prime Ticket was his first invention, and but he established different ticket pricing, got the celebrities to come to the game, and so the Lakers have a completely different following than the Clippers. The Lakers would be, the franchise that people have really embraced, and rightfully so. And the Clippers would probably appeal to towns like Pittsburgh,
yeah,
New York City, tough, hard-nosed kids. And in New York, I don't know how people play there with the enormous amount of criticism you get. Here in Los Angeles, most of the time the players, the press is pretty easy to deal with. But the enormity of the talk shows, these bloggers, and I know you hear them, Marshall, talking about football. I don't think anyone knows what it's like to carry the ball 24 times and wake up what you feel like the next morning. I see somebody 5'4" and no criticism, someone 5'4", talk about what it's like to play in a basketball game and the pressure you feel, the pressure to win. Football, where you have 16 games, they want to expand it to 17, pay them more money, of course, I hope. But with basketball, the enormity of the season, and then it's like a marathon, and then the last 28 games, if you play them all, that's when you're going to establish what a franchise history is going to be. And the Lakers did that better than anyone for quite a while.
So I agree with you on that. There's no way that you can compare them to, but I believe that there's a fight. Right now, the Clippers are putting up a fight for LA to be recognized and to be identified in LA, and that's what I see. It's not. You're not going to take LA from the Lakers.
No.
But you could put up a fight, and that's what I see. I see a fight being put up.
Well, as I say, it will be really interesting. The basketball fans in Los Angeles will be the lucky ones, that's for sure. And this will be kind of the showcase all year to watch these two teams, and they're going to be shown on TV a lot of time. LeBron James and his swagger that he plays the game, the following he has, and the fun guy, Kawhi Leonard, just sitting there staring at you. I kind of like that, by the way.
Yeah, well, tell us something that we don't know about Kawhi, because he is kind of like he's a mysterious figure in the NBA. He doesn't overshare. He doesn't seem to have a need to put everything in his life out there.
Well, it's just his personality. And when you're around him, he's very quiet. But when he starts talking, he is really funny, and he's absolutely charming. And, this Terminator movie that I guess it's an advertisement for the new
trailer,
Terminator movie. To watch him there, that almost, to some extent, looks like it's uncomfortable for him, but I think he enjoyed it. But the one I enjoy is the car that he has driving, looks like on Mulholland Drive.
Oh, gosh.
That is incredible. That's incredible. A New Balance shoe commercial.
Do you have time to stick around for another segment? Do you have to run out the door?
Absolutely. As long as Marshall's here.
I won't let Marshall go.
I'm staying.
Marshall Faulk, Susie Schuster, Jerry West here on The Rich Eisen Show. Stick around. Let's talk to Jerry West in a moment about Michael Jordan's comments on Steph Curry and whether or not he thinks he's a Hall of Famer. Looking forward to hearing that when we come back here on The Rich Eisen Show. DirecTV has college football in 4K HDR with lifelike picture quality, richer colors, 4 times the resolution of HD. Make sure to tune in tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. to catch Virginia Tech at number 16 Notre Dame on DirecTV 4K channel 105. If you don't have it, go to AT&T.com/Eisen4K. And don't ask Rich about it because, of course, Notre Dame lost to Michigan, so now he's just cock of the walk. It's a whole to-do.
Come on now.
It's a whole to-do. We're nervous in our house, Jerry. Rich is his temperature, his mood changes and swings rapidly with Ohio State looming. I have to say, I'm going to hide the knives.
Tell me the feeling when the kid dropped the ball against Penn State in the end zone. What on 4th down? Every time something like that happened.
You think what's happening?
Yeah, I'm like, where is Eisen? What is he doing? Like, who's holding him right now? Like, did you have the coddle?
I got out the Tylenol with codeine, and I gave it to him with a little bit of whiskey, and I said, night-night, honey. Jerry West here on The Rich Eisen Show as I turn the corner and talk about medicating my husband. Susie Schuster, Marshall Faulk with you here. Jerry, in the last segment, we talked about, for a second, Michael Jordan saying that Steph Curry is not a Hall of Famer yet. Now, you're very close to MJ. Clearly, you're close to Steph Curry as well. What's your take on that?
Well, I think if you saw Michael's reaction, he smiled, and I think he knows he's a Hall of Famer. but he has not been selected yet. But he will be. Getting in basketball's Hall of Fame today has really changed. Okay, it's the standards have been lowered some because they're trying to expand the role of basketball worldwide. But Steph Curry is a no-brainer. Okay, I think Michael knows that.
I wonder how his hand is doing. That poor kid.
If Michael Jordan said that, if I was Steph, and I'm just saying, Mike said that about me, I wouldn't even feel slighted. I'd be like, okay, Mike.
Mike knows my name.
Right. Not only that, but I still have games to play. Like, if your career was over and Mike said that about you, you need to be worried.
I think it was all tongue-in-cheek. If you know Michael Jordan and know how he's playful, okay, he knows how. Steph Curry, I'll take a bet that he's a Hall of Famer, period, playing basketball right now, as are there a number.
But he's changed the game. Like, Steph changed the game.
Well, the game has been changed for a lot of reasons, Marshall. The three-point line has completely changed the game. And also, all the analytical people have changed a lot. And I watch the game sometimes, and I see 80-some free throws, 80-some threes shot. And I say to myself, how can you be a great defensive team unless you have some kind of a balance? Because they'll go down and shoot 1-on-4, and here comes the offensive team running this way, and a long rebound. A lot of times they just throw it down for a wide-open layup. So I think your defenses get compromised. But the analytical people have gotten so involved today that it's not a game I think is as pretty as I'd like to see it. I'm probably more of a purist. I think because the advent of the three-point line, we see more people taking three-point shots. But I think when they're taken is the most important thing, because to me it gives you a little bit better balance defensively and gives a team a chance to play defense where sometimes you just can't play good defense. And when the ball was shot so from everywhere, I mean, absolutely everywhere. And as I say, it creates excitement because late in the game, a lead is never safe. Yeah. It's created a different kind of player. We see incredibly gifted ball handlers today that are, like James Harden, an unbelievable offensive player. And I think to watch him play and watch Steph Curry play, you watch all the kids now. They don't ever shoot from free throw line. They're all shooting behind the three-point line. But again, when you're younger, you emulate people that you admire. And to see him on TV and make shots that, it's the greatest shooter of all time, he probably is. I don't think it's close. But to watch him shoot around before the game, I mean, some guy will go out and make 8 or 10 in a row. He'll make 30 or 40 or 50, and then Klay Thompson do the same darn thing, and they're on one team. It's beautiful to watch when you can shoot it like that.
Jerry, thank you so much for coming in sick. I couldn't appreciate it more. We really appreciate your time. Jerry West here on The Rich Eisen Show.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download The Rich Eisen Show app.